Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Good evening, you're watching the Chairman's Report. This program is brought to you by IBC 13 and the Commission on Filipinos Overseas, an agency under the Office of the President mandated to connect the Filipino diaspora with their home country. I'm Dante, Klink II, Chairperson, the CFO, and your program host. Tonight's guest is the lone artist for one of the most unique media of art, ostrich eggshells. Mr. Danny Rayos Del Sol has translated his advocacy for peace and inner spirituality through carvings and designs through these fragile media of art. Through series such as Unfolding and the Different Faces of Mary, he explores themes of spirituality, heritage, and the complex layers of the human persona. Danny has also served as the former head of the National Committee for Art Galleries under the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. At present, Danny is the curator of Manila Art, National Art Fair, and the annual Sculpture Review. His leadership extends to the Mirasol Outreach Foundation Incorporated, where he serves as president. In his capacity, he manages significant recovery projects, including distributing water filtration systems to underserved communities and coordinating international youth exchange programs such as the Copain du Monde. Through his work, he continues to push the boundaries of artistic expression, demonstrating that art need not be confined to traditional materials, but can evolve through unconventional media that challenge both the artist and the audience to see creativity in new ways. Mr. Rayos Del Sol, or my good friend Danny, welcome to the Chairman's Report. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.
Well, I want to start our conversation with, of course, what we, that in a way tied to what we do at CFO. Yeah. So, of course, that's migration and development. But when people talk about migration, it's usually outbound. Now, you left in
1980
during turbulent times.
Yes.
And most people would think once you leave the Philippines, whether it's for political reasons or economic reasons, that you have it made already, right? But somehow you never turn your back on the Philippines. Tell us about your life in Toronto.
Well, I migrated in 1980, and my life in Toronto was quite challenging, but it was also very, very rewarding because I work and I work hard, and my last position before I left the country in the University of Toronto, where I worked for 15 years, my last position was Assistant Manager of Finance and Personnel. So it's an executive level position, and a lot of people were thinking, why is Danny going back to the Philippines when he made it good in Canada? But I've always been a Filipino.
You never lost that.
I never lost that, because even when I was in Canada, I was very much involved with Filipino communities, specifically with the Fiesta Filipina Dance Troupe and the Fiesta Filipina
Which, I don't know, won the presidential award.
Yeah, it did.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s, during the time of GMA, I think. We were given the award.
Yeah, the PAFI award,
So that, the most beautiful thing about Canada is that it's not a melting pot. It is a very multicultural society. What it means is that when you go to Canada, you do not leave being a Filipino behind, but you enrich your being Filipino in Canada, so that all other immigrants in Canada, all other countries migrating to Canada, talaga sila, whatever culture they have at home, they are enriched. As a matter of fact, we have represented Canada in Europe in in folk dances, but what do we carry is our Filipino dances, songs and dances, and food, everything Filipinos. But we carry the flag of Canada. So in essence, we are promoting Canada and the Philippines as well. So that's the beauty of being Canadian. Unlike in the United States, it's a melting pot. Once you go there, you forget about your past and you become an American.
Yeah, because that's what most people assume. Once you go abroad, you turn over a new leaf and you start a new life.
Not in Canada.
Right.
Yeah. So
was that encouraged by the multicultural society in Canada, or was it because maybe you were a reluctant migrant to begin with, or maybe a combination?
Both. Because they have always promoted Canada as a very multicultural society, and it works for me. Yeah. Because I really don't want to leave Philippines. That's why, I'm a very patriotic person.
But when you were working with the Fiesta Dance Troupe and the younger members of the Filipino community in Toronto, what is it about being a Filipino that you wanted to share with them? Because you left the Philippines during a very troubling period, right? But what is it that you wanted to impress on them about being Filipino?
Yeah.
Because they never had that experience. They grew up in Toronto, in Canada. It's totally different environment, right? What was important for them to learn as migrants in Canada?
I've seen this in my pamangkins,
right. Yeah.
The Filipinos I'm dealing with in Canada are already second and third generations.
Okay.
So they do not know a thing about the Philippines. But when they join the Fiesta Filipina Dance Troupe, they learn more about the culture, the dances, the songs, even the food, and the tradition. And these are the things that we carry within us when we go abroad. And as a matter of fact, these are more exaggerated when you go abroad. Yeah. Pagdating mo nga sa Canada, lalong hindi nawala yung
sense of
Filipino mo, talagang heightened pagmamano.
Yeah. But was it challenging for some of these kids because they of course try to fit in the Canadian society, but they're also are trying to understand their own cultural heritage, right, from or where their parents came from. Did you find that as challenging for some of them?
There has always been pros and cons. Even in the melting pot of the United States, there's always pros and cons on that one. The same here. The challenges that we have, that we are facing, and there's always been talk about discrimination. There's always been talk about prejudices. But who are you going to be prejudiced with when you are all immigrants who share the same thing? You may be prejudiced to another country, but the same way that country has prejudices on us. So it's it balance out. Yeah. It's not something in the America, in the United States, where discrimination is against black or against
brown.
It's not like that.
What was important for you that what lessons about the Philippines or about Filipino culture was important for you to teach them? Is it, you said the pagmamano, is it values? Is that the one that's important?
It's more on,
or really, was it just something about the country in general, or?
Well, overall, Philippines is a very beautiful country. How could you not love the Philippines? My being very activist in me would always say, ang hirap mong mahalin, Pilipinas. Pero
minamahal mo pa rin.
Pero mahal pa rin kita eh. Yeah. Because Philippines is just a beautiful country. There's nowhere else in this world I would rather be than the Philippines. That's why even if I was in Canada, I know deep inside me that I'm going back in the Philippines. I know I made it good in Canada because just like what I said, I was an executive over X number of years. And when I decided to come back here in Canada, from Canada to the Philippines, there was a write-up about me that was published in the national newspaper. It says, a Filipino who carved a niche in Canada, going back to the Philippines for good, and it's a question mark, and it's a title. You know, it's half. You know, I was very flattering because it was half a page, but you know, I had to go back because during that time, that was Ramos' time. You know, you hear a lot of.
Yeah. I should say that's when also around the time we met. I was with the Philippine consulate in Toronto.
Philippine consulate.
So I was already doing CFO's job.
CFO's job at that time, yeah.
Made you come back. But you were already doing it without any urging from the government.
Yeah, so parang during the time, there was an exodus of Filipinos actually from
Canada.
From Canada, not only from Canada, from all over the world.
Coming back here to the Philippines.
So, and many of us made it good here. You know, our very dear friend Ariel Rivera, Daphne Osenia Paez, Tisha Silang, even the non-popular one, but also made it good.
Your friends,
they came back here because of that promise of tiger economy.
Sure.
For me, I stayed here because there has been, turbulent times again, economic crisis again, but it did not deter me in staying here because there was a point na let's go back to Canada because of the social.
It's an interesting. I'll pick up on that. I just have to take a quick break. Please stay with us. We are watching the Chairman's Report with Danny Rayos Del Sol.
ASEAN Time. Dahil sa ASEAN, mas madali na ang cashless transactions sa ibang bansang miyembro nito. Sa tulong ng Regional Payment Connectivity o RPC Initiative, pinag-ugnay ang QR payment systems ng bawat bansa. Tulad ng PromptPay sa Thailand, SGQR sa Singapore, Kris sa Indonesia, at QRPH sa Pilipinas. Kaya posible na ang cross-border payment. Pwedeng-pwede mong direktang gamitin ang e-wallet o banking app mo kahit nasa ibang ASEAN country ka. Mas mababa rin ang fees at conversion costs dahil pwede nang gumamit ng local currencies tulad ng peso, baht at ringgit para sa cross-border payments. O diba? Mas convenient ito para sa lahat. Mula sa mga turista, small businesses at ordinaryong tao. Bilang bahagi ng ASEAN, the future is bright for Filipinos in food, culture, tourism, travel, and more. Kaya abangan at suportahan ang 2026 ASEAN Summit na gaganapin sa Pilipinas. It's ASEAN Time!
Doc, true ba?
May health question ka ba na gustong masagot?
True ba na nakakahawa through close contact ang lupus?
Doc, true po ba na kapag nag-swimming ay mas at risk magkaroon ng ear infection?
Samahan sina Doc Sel Martinez at Jerome Sang na masagot ang inyong mga katanungan pangkalusugan sa Doc, True ba? Tuwing Sabado alas 8 ng umaga.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm Dante. We're talking to my good friend Danny Rayos Del Sol. Danny, you said when you went to Canada, you always thought that you wanted to come back.
Yes.
But of course, there are a lot of factors that come into play. I mean, you have your life there, you had the career. but you also had family here. Huh?
Yeah.
What were the factors that made you finally decide?
Number one, it's the promise of good economy of the Philippines during that time.
During the Ramos time.
During the Ramos time. Tiger economy. You know, it was in Time magazine.
Sure.
Okay. Number two, I was invited by my father to come home and be a part
your
of
family
our...
still had a business here.
our business, and take over and do a lot of things like, you know, we have properties that needed to be fixed,
managed.
So okay, I came back here in 1994. And in 1994, sabi ko, ito lang ba gagawin ko? Is this the only thing that I'm going to do here? You know, attending the board of the directors meeting once a month, and what happened to the rest of the 29 days. So I enrolled in Ateneo for my MBA.
Where you met Tasha.
Where I met my wife, yes.
But the thing is, people always talk about the difficulties in moving abroad and the challenges in adapting. But not many people talk about the challenges what they encounter moving back home. And during that time, you said there was a lot of promises and there's a lot of excitement about the Philippines, but there was also challenges because Ramos came in. There was brownouts, right, and there were other challenges as well. Talk about that. How difficult was it coming back to a country you left 15 years prior?
Number one is the discipline.
Okay. You were frustrated.
I am very, very frustrated with, especially with the road.
Traffic.
Wala akong
Lubak.
No, actually, more than the traffic is the
courtesy,
the driving habit of the Filipinos. You know, wala akong ginawa kundi magmura. But after a while, you can't bark at any. You cannot stop at any dog that barks at you. So you learn to dismiss it, and yun ang number one challenge ko talaga, mga discipline, the red tape in anything and everything that you do. My goodness, kailangan mo lagi na meron kang kakilala. At least somehow ngayon medyo kahit paano, I must give credit to the government for sige, unti-unti nang nababawasan, but it's still there. Pero
was there a point where you thought, well, forget this, I'll just go back to my life in Toronto? Did you ever reach a point like that, or was it challenging but it never got to that?
The challenge was really economic. When that became a problem for me, I really contemplated going back to Canada. But I have a family. I have my wife and my daughter who
made you stay.
Made me stay. And because we have spiritual director who would say, wag mong palakihin.
But you had your residency there as well.
Yeah, I had. So I'm Canadian actually.
So why not just bring why not bring them to Canada and live the life that you had there with them?
Because after a while, I did. We went there. We tried. We checked. We checked the school if we are going to do it here. And
kasi doon libre rin yung public school.
The school,
which is good quality still.
I had problem then because of values again. Do I want to raise my daughter in this kind of environment? I've seen a lot of Filipinos, not all, but generally speaking, Filipino kids there, they get the best of both worlds. Meaning to say, they wanted to be really, really very, very independent, but they wanted the support of their financial support of the parents, which the parents do. That's our culture. We take care of our children, and sometimes I didn't look at it as something that is good. If this is the kind of environment that I would like to.
For Bella, your daughter.
For my daughter to grow.
So a lot of Filipinos abroad, they think about coming home to the Philippines. And of course, as you said, sometimes the transition coming back is also challenging. or maybe equally challenging than what they would experience going out. What would you recommend to people so that maybe to manage their expectations so that they don't get disappointed, or maybe that they should consider before making that leap, returning for ano yung mga lessons learned mo na?
Number one really is the frame of mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Paradigm shift. Kasi you would always be in for frustration, manage expectation actually.
Sure.
Kasi yung mga expectations mo na this is how we do it in Canada. And it's really very frustrating. Naaasar nga ako dun sa mga taong who would always say, us in Canada it's like this and like that. Just go back to Canada.
But does it come to a point where like your standards somehow influence things are done here? I mean, is there something like that going on as well? Because you expect more, then you influence people around you to
That's
adapt
what I would like to know. Kasi I have the best of both worlds. So, I'm a very, very Filipino, but I should say my discipline is very Canadian.
Okay.
I'm I don't know, but I'm a very disciplined person. That's why a lot of people were also inviting me in politics. Join this, join that. I could never be in politics because I am a black and white person.
Mali. Tama.
I would never support your being wrong just because it's a popular move.
Right.
And this is me kasi because I'm a Filipino, but I have that kind of discipline that I have adopted from Canadian ways. I like that.
Do you think that have you talked about this with your family, or maybe eventually going back? I mean, we're late in your sunset
year. Not anymore. Because
dito ka na talaga.
Dito na talaga ako. I'll die here because my daughter, she has an option because she's also Canadian.
Okay.
Because if she wants to migrate and look for a greener pasture, then that will be her choice.
Okay.
And that, I think that is a beautiful choice that I made for her.
Okay.
At least
she has options.
You have the options.
Yeah.
Pero ako kasi, when I started working here, I put up a lot of businesses, small businesses. I do things. I'm an artist. And I cannot see myself being
in Canadian society anymore.
Being a working person.
I see.
Reporting for somebody, and there's a boss on top of me. Ay, batuhan ko yung boss ko.
Yeah.
I cannot be. I'm too much of a boss to be
bossed around.
To be bossed around.
Okay.
Parang yun ang aking biggest problem when I think of going back to Canada. What am I going to do? The retirement na nga, I'm already 67, retired age yan eh. Dito ka na lang, retired ka na talaga eh. Pero sana siguro when I was still on my working years, pwede. Pero ngayon, I could not consider that anymore.
And are you happy making that choice, or you feel like you're forced because tanda na ako?
No. I'm very happy because I just like what I said. I'm very Filipino through and through. Even if I have my Canadian passport, I like my Canadian passport because I travel everywhere with no problem.
So just the convenience. But
the convenience.
Everything else.
I do get my pensions from Canada.
But everything else.
Everything else is Filipino.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back with Danny Rayos Del Sol. Please stay with us.
Are you getting confused with all the fake news? IBC 13 will guide you with steps to determine fake news. Check the source. If it's reliable, take a background check on the site, its writers, and its mission. Check the credibility of the author. It might give you an idea on how trustworthy the author is. Check the date of the news or article. Sharing old news might confuse recent events. Look for supporting sources. Gather data and info to support the story. Ask the experts. It's another way to get credible info and data to support a story. Assess your own belief. This might affect your judgment when considering news to be fake or not. You won't get confused with fake news anymore. Here on IBC 13.
Bagong Pilipinas. Mahalaga ang kapakanan ng bawat isa. Lahat ng aspeto ng lipunan pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng pamahalaan at ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Bagong Pilipinas, PBBM, Lingkod ng Bayan. Tuwing Linggo, alas 8:30 ng umaga.
Obra mula sa basura? Pwede yan, basta't kasama mo ang buong Artkada. Kaya Artlinks, game na ba kayo? Ilabas na ang inyong art materials at unleash your creative minds. Let's turn trash into treasures sa mga super fun at colorful activities. Don't worry, si Kuya Kel ang bahala sa inyo. Kalye, sining tuwing Sabado, 4 p.m.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. We're talking about the migration journey of Danny Rayos Del Sol. Danny, I'm curious, from being an executive at the University of Toronto, I know you said that you were still involved in the Fiesta dance troupe, but how did art come into your life? I mean, because this is now your full-time
Yeah, it's my profession.
profession, right?
You mean to say my
Yeah, well,
being
the sculptures,
visual artist.
right? Yeah, you were
Oh,
always
yeah,
interested in it,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
never saw you dance in the
Yeah.
Fiesta. But I mean, as an artist, rather
Yeah.
as opposed to being a person who supports or right?
I'll be telling you the story. Do you have time? Do we have time?
No, we don't. Just
We
go-
don't.
Let's go through that.
No, because I've always thought that my love for arts has always been
Oh.
in performing arts. That's why I love the dancing, Fiesta dance troupe. I love opera. I love ballet.
I remember going to your parent. You had people like playing the piano.
We both bought.
Well, because I bought the piano because I
We've
didn't
been
want to
playing.
keep on borrowing going to your place and playing the piano.
So
But I still don't know how to play the piano. But anyway,
never mind. We found our niche.
yeah.
So I've always thought that it's always been a performance, but there has been a twist of fate or something, or because what had happened is that I was talking to you earlier about when there was a turbulent times in my life, crisis, if you will, that I wanted to go back to Canada.
Right.
But decided to stay because during that time when I had a crisis in my life, it's actually a financial crisis that led to psychological crisis, that led to emotional
Yeah, I
crisis.
remember that.
Emotional crisis that led to spiritual crisis. So all kind of crises that had happened to me during that time. So when that crisis happened, I remember you inviting me, Danny, let's go to my farm. To my
That's
dad's
not
farm.
mine. It's my dad's farm.
And
You saw the ostrich eggs.
it was very ironic because my crisis at that time was financial, and then Klink invited me to their farm. He was showing off his riches. My goodness, there are Arabian horses. There are
It's not Arabian horses. That's just anyway.
racing horses.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Aren't they Arabian
You're making
horses?
me sound more.
No, there are ostriches. There are ostriches, and there were goats this big.
Yeah, well,
and I said,
those are my goats. Yeah.
yeah. And I said, my goodness. And my problem is financial. And here is this guy showing me off his riches. And then, anyway, on my way home, he gifted me with a dozen of ostrich eggshell. Sabi ko, what am I going to do with these shells? And so I look at it in the internet, and then I said, wow, you could actually turn this into art, and I can do this. and I could actually do better than this. So I told myself. So I bought my first carving tool online and started working on it as a hobby, because during those time of crisis, I really have to, my mind has to be occupied with something else.
Right.
So that became my hobby. So okay, for a while, my mind is off the problem and just working beautifully. And then, during the crisis, I went to church, and on my way home, I saw this Couples for Christ invitation.
Okay.
So I attended Couples for Christ, and in Couples for Christ, we were sharing, telling them about my ostrich egg, and one of the couple got interested with my ostrich egg. He goes to me, Danny, I'm so interested with your, the things that you do. Could you show it to us? So I brought it the following week, and when I showed it,
What was it?
they already carved.
What was the image that you had?
It's
Do you remember?
Yes, it's a fairy.
Fairy, okay.
It's a fairy.
I remember that, yeah.
So it was a
They
fairy.
had a series of that.
Yes. So it was a fairy. And then, sabi niya, Danny, look at this. This is your work. This is so beautiful. You make 30 of this and I'll do a one-man show for you. And incidentally, she owns a gallery.
Wow.
So, isip, challenge accepted. So sabi ko, and that was July.
Okay.
So
What year was that?
2007.
2007. Okay.
Because that was the time when my father died. 2006. And 2006, yun.
Yeah.
Kaya nung ginagawa ko yun, sabi niya, sige, I started working in July and then have a show in November. So I made around 28 pieces, more than 20 pieces. In that span, July, August, September, October, November, 5-6 months working on it. Dami ko nagawa. So I was very happy. And you know what? Sabi ni Amy, who owns Gallery 9, sabi niya, Danny, this is hit or break for you, because if, I have invited every affiliated with our art aficionados, art critics, art collectors, artists, all of this, and people that has something to do with art were all invited, were all there. And beautiful thing happened. If the success of the show is about being sold out, that was a sold out show. So it gave me a very good income for, handed me this much money. So I started paying off my bill, my credit cards. So it's okay. And then goes, let's do it again.
And now you have your own gallery, and
now
you ventured into, you were doing sculptures with bones, but now you're doing paintings, and you have an exhibit, a one-man show at the Palms, right?
Right now I have a one-man show. It's called Unfolding.
Okay.
You know why it's unfolding? Because it reveals the layer of my soul.
Okay.
It's about a mid-career retrospective, because I'm showing there where I started as an ostrich egg artist, and then now I ventured into another things, mixed media, painting, and now I have a lot of paintings, series. All of this series of paintings that I have are conceptualized. So it's like, when I say unfolding, I showed it like a cracked egg, and then coming out of that cracked egg are
this new form
of art that I take. So that's why, if you have time, I have a show at the Palms ongoing until April 26th.
Okay.
So please, shameless plug.
No, but were you interested in drawing when you were younger? Were you doing some carving or doodling or something that...
Actually, no.
What did you tap into? I mean, besides your appreciation for the performing arts, what did you tap into that made you the artist that you are today?
No, I wouldn't say that this is something that it's there in me from that has not been awakened. I think what this is a gift.
Yeah.
This is a gift from God that, could be taken away anytime. That's why every time I talk about my artwork, my ostrich, most of my artwork are actually religious in nature. And people are asking me, why always saints, Jesus and saints and all religious name? Because every time I talk about it, about my work, and I talk about what I went through, I think that is my mission. I evangelize. So as far as the talent, has it been there from the beginning? I don't think so.
Yeah, I never noticed it at all. No, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You the evangelization work. It's interesting because you're now known also in Taguig as someone who works with different. Well, not just in Taguig, but all over the country.
Yeah.
You're now working with different artists from all over the country, doing all sorts of works. How did that come about? Just did they were drawn to you, or this was you just met them through couples, or something else happened that? How did you get that role? Because now you have your own gallery that becomes now the focal point, right?
It's it's a series of things, development of things.
Yeah.
Because when I said I was not an artist before, and Amy gave me the opportunity, sabi ni Amy sa akin, she saw the talent in me, the attorney laws. She saw the talent in me, made me a curator. And from that curator, I've been dealing with a lot of artists. And when I was a curator, I said, Danny, can you be my representative to the National Committee on Art Gallery as representing Gallery 9? So I did. And when I was in NCAG, I was elected as the head of the NCAG. So, it's development, one thing led to the other. Sure. And then when I was the head of the NCAG, under my chairmanship or under my leadership, came Mindanao Art Fair, Luzon Art Fair, Visayas Art Fair. These are the three major art fairs that are my brainchild. And now they're flourishing, because really you could see my love for the Filipino and my love for the art, because I really work hard for all of this. So even in our very own city, Taguig City, I really work hard because I formed another group. It's called Taguig Artist Group, because I wanted to harness their whatever talent we have there, because hoping in the future we are going to produce one Taguigueño who would probably be a national artist or a master or what have you, to that kind of level.
Interesting. Please stay with us. You're watching the Chairman's Report. We're talking to Mr. Danny Rayos Del Sol. We'll be right back.
ASEAN Time. Bahagi ng ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Initiative ang mas madaling travel at cultural exchange. Visa-free travel sa ASEAN countries? No problem! Mas madali nang bumiyahe sa Southeast Asian countries, at dahil dito, mas naipaparamdam natin ang hospitality sa mga turista. With community-based tourism, mas naipapakita natin ang ganda ng lokal na pamumuhay, pagkain at kultura habang tumutulong sa mga komunidad. Tampok ang Pilipinas sa ASEAN Cultural Festivals. Bit-bit ang ating musika, sayaw at sining na nakikilala sa buong rehiyon. Mayroon ding student at teacher exchanges para sa academic at cultural learning. Bilang bahagi ng ASEAN, the future is bright for Filipinos. In food, culture, tourism, travel, and more. Kaya abangan at suportahan ang 2026 ASEAN Summit na gaganapin sa Pilipinas. It's ASEAN Time!
Get ready for the most dazzling, full of energy, at super-duper captivating kids sa programang Ang Bida ay hindi lang cuteness, kundi talent din. Talents Academy, every Saturday at 4:30 p.m.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm Dante. We're talking to my friend Danny Rayos Del Sol. Let's switch it up a bit because now you've made it, and I'd like that's how I see it, and a lot of people see it.
What do you mean? I arrived.
You arrived. So finally, but
Yeah, but-
you're also giving back, and then you have this Mirasol Foundation, and now you're working with this other group based in France, it's Coupe Populaire Français.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Mirasol first, because that's where it started.
yeah.
How did that come about?
Ah.
I think
For me,
Yolanda, I think, or something.
looking back in
Yeah.
retrospect, it's paid forward.
Okay.
Because after all what I've been through, all the crises, all these things, and now I'm doing okay. There was a point in 2014 when 2013 Yolanda happened. So I posted something on Facebook and said, those who wanted to help Yolanda, you could give your donation to me, and I'll make sure that they are given to the proper channel.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I posted, and many, very many people replied to it, including friends from Canada. That's why I raised around 260,000 pesos from that post. And a friend, I posted it in Children's International Summers Village Facebook, which is shown internationally. There was an Indonesian who saw my post. His daughter is also part of CISV, and said maybe they wanted to help the Philippines, but they do not want to help the Philippines through the government.
Sure.
They want a conduit, a private conduit, an NGO, for that matter, and because they don't know anybody here in the Philippines, so they tried talking to me. So we talked. They contacted me and they said, this is what we would like to do. We would like to give 1 million peso. And then when they proposed to me, they said, I could not accept your $20,000 because I am not capable.
That's not your full-time job.
I am not capable of doing it. No, and besides, I studied the what's happening. There were like 7 miles of trucks lining up to go to Leyte at that time. Sabi ko, sasali pa kami doon. Where do we line up? After 8 miles?
Yeah.
And when would it go? When would they receive our? So during that time, sabi a friend of mine who is from Busuanga said, Tito Danny, Busuanga is devastated as well, but was missed by the media.
Yeah.
So let's go check it. So when we checked it, this is so okay naman pala. So I accepted the
You built classrooms there. Thank you for bringing me along that trip, by the way.
Yeah. Nung dumating yon, sabi nung sige, we'll work together. But the funny part was, can you advance the money?
Okay.
I said, my goodness, I do not know you from hello, and you're telling me, we're going to do this together and then advance the money.
Yeah.
But Tess and I, thought about it and said, okay, let's just do it. And my sister was very, he was not very happy with it. Danny, what if it fails? So I said, if it fails, then we will have a very handsome donation to the victims.
Yeah.
So okay na rin. Because during that time, I was already, medyo umaangat na ako. My profession is doing well. Being an artist, I'm making money already. So it's okay with me. So true enough, 2 days before the relief operation, somebody came from Indonesia.
Okay.
Handed me the $20,000 cash.
Wow.
I said, oh, really? So I didn't know how to react first. And I said, yeah. And sabi, $20,000 cash. But we only spent like 700,000. So there's still 300,000 more. And I said, oh my goodness. I was returning the 300,000. And then he goes, no, it's already expended on our part. It's yours. So it cannot be mine. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And he goes, because you don't want, let's do another relief operation. So we did another relief operation. And then, we're happy. And then I found that they're doing a background investigation on me, which I really, really was very, very offended.
Okay.
Because I was just helping them. And then
They reach out to you.
reach out to me
What?
and then doing a background investigation on me. And then, you know, when I confronted them, I found out that they were thinking of making me their partner.
Okay.
In so, yeah, okay, thank you very much, for considering me. And because of that, I was invited in France on an all expense paid to
Yeah.
to meet the president of the Secours Populaire Français, and the most beautiful part there is that I met with the first lady of France at that time.
Sarkozy?
Ni Holland.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Si ano.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were there. So, yun, I was treated like a diplomat there.
Wow.
when I went there, because, you know, every time I open my mouth, somebody's translating or vice versa.
Yeah.
No, I have my little flag on that oval table, so that during our discussion, there were so many like this cameras and.
So let me take a step back. So did Mirasol
It wasn't. It
was created because of Yolanda?
because of that.
Of Yolanda.
Because of that. Because of
Okay.
Yolanda. Because they wanted to partner
With an organization,
Yeah,
not an
they
individual.
wanted to
I
partner
see.
with me. They said, we cannot partner with you as a private individual.
I see. So you need to-
it has to be a NGO.
Yeah.
And mind you, during that time when we applied for an NGO at that time, that was the height of Napoles scandal.
Okay.
So sabi ko, paano tayo ma-approve nito?
Well, no wonder they had that background check. But it evolved. Right?
Yes.
It continues.
It continues.
So what are you focusing now on with Mirasol, and in partnership perhaps, or maybe not in partnership with Secours Populaire France?
Yeah, well, you know, we're still partners because
okay.
I have a designated title. I am the regional coordinator of Secours Populaire Français here in Asia.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. Oh, so that's why you went to the earthquake in Kathmandu or something like that?
yeah, I've been 7 times. I've been to Kathmandu, to Nepal 7 times.
Yeah.
I've been to Indonesia 3 times. I've been to Japan. I've been to Vanuatu. I've been to Mozambique, as far as Mozambique.
Wow.
And I was their representative for humanitarian relief operations.
Wow.
So my work has been international.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have been bringing a water filtration system, because I think having access to clean water is one of the very basic
Needs,
human
yeah.
rights. It's not a need to me. It's a
right.
right already that you have to have a clean water. So I have been promoting that access to clean water, and a lot of every time. But my NGO is not about My NGO is more on disaster response.
I see.
Because I could not work as a real NGO because I have other things to do.
You still have your
my
work.
art.
Yeah.
But the most beautiful thing here is that I marry the NGO works with art. You know what I've been doing? My very, very first during COVID, I invited a lot of friends, so those who would like to help the victims or the frontliners. You may donate your artwork to me, and we will do it in auction.
Nice.
And then I raised 2.7 million.
Wow.
And we use this money in buying the PPEs that supplied
During COVID,
PPEs from Apari to Holo
Wow.
District Hospital. Ang dami niyan, ang dami
Wow.
naming nabigyan ng PPEs. I don't know, I think we produced around 9,000 PPEs at that time, and we
Wow.
were able to give from and my conduit there is because my conduit there is the Philippine Navy, so that somebody needs it in Apari, Philippine Navy would deliver it there. In Holo, Philippine Navy would deliver it there. So it was a beautiful marriage of That's why even now, remember my 65th birthday. Were you there? You were not
I'm
there.
never invited to your milestone.
You ignored my invitation. But anyway, my 65th birthday, I asked few friends to
I was
donate artwork, and they did. and my most beloved, my most revered Ramon Orlina donated a piece of
Wow.
his artwork. That's worth 2.4 M.
Wow.
And he gave it to me free for me to auction.
For a cause, yeah.
For a cause.
That's
So
nice.
now we were able to raise 3.7 M from the artwork of friends, close friends like Agi Pagkatipunan,
Yeah.
Koblay Milan,
Yeah.
Richard Buksani.
Oh, I think we can go on and on talk
Yeah, I
about
know.
this, but
But-
I'm limited by the by
we have so many.
the time slot given to me.
Okay, part 2.
Yeah.
Let's have part 2.
Thank you for your time, Danny. But before we go, maybe you want to talk again about your exhibit, and maybe invite them to, or maybe whatever message you want to leave our audience.
Yeah, just yesterday we did a humanitarian operation again for the victims, not the victims, but those who suffered because of the surge in petroleum. We had 500 beneficiaries, jeepney drivers and tricycle drivers. We gave them, 3 kilos of rice and 5 kilos of vegetables. So, I'd like people to participate in this kind of food pantry community works, and that is the general invitation for everybody to take care, to care for other people. But this is a shameless plug. I have an ongoing exhibition. It's called Unfolding. It's now ongoing until April 26 at the Palms, Philinvest, Muntinlupa. It's about retrospective works that I have from Ostrich Ag, and now I have ventured to a lot of paintings, and I'd like you people to see it and enjoy my work. Thank you very much.
Danny, thanks once again, and thanks for inviting me. I'm inviting myself, but really, I really appreciate the story. And as you said, I think there's a lot more to discuss, and we need to have a part 2 of this interview. Thank you to IBC 13 for making this possible. This has been your Chairman's Report. I'm Dante, and I'll see you next week.